Welcome to today's episode where we'll be exploring Carol Dweck's profound book, Mindset: The New Psychology of Success. I'm excited to share this with you because, unlike many self-help concepts that feel like repackaged common sense, Dweck's research genuinely changed how psychologists, and now the world, think about achievement, potential, and personal development. You might think you already know what mindset means. Just think positive, right? Well, buckle up, because Dweck's conception goes much deeper than motivational Instagram quotes. In fact, the insights in this book might just explain why some people bounce back from failures while others crumble, why some children thrive under challenges while others avoid them, and maybe even why your incredibly talented friend from college is still working that dead-end job while complaining about how unfair life is. So what makes this book special? For starters, it's backed by decades of rigorous research. Carol Dweck isn't just another self-improvement guru. She's a Stanford psychology professor who spent her career studying achievement and success. Her findings have transformed education, parenting, business, and sports. And today, we're going to extract the essence of her work in a way that you can actually apply to your life. The two mindsets. At the core of Dweck's research is a simple but profound distinction between two mindsets, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. In a fixed mindset, people believe their basic qualities, like intelligence or talent, are fixed traits. They have a certain amount, and that's that. This leads them to document their intelligence or talent instead of developing them. They believe talent alone creates success, without effort. If you've ever said, "I'm just not a math person," or "I don't have a creative bone in my body," that's the fixed mindset talking. In contrast, those with a growth mindset believe that their most basic abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. This view creates a love of learning and a resilience essential for great accomplishment. Virtually all great people have had these qualities. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, wait, isn't this just saying try harder? Not exactly. It's more about how you conceptualize yourself and your abilities. Let me give you an example. Imagine two students who receive a C on a test. The first student with a fixed mindset thinks, "I'm not smart enough for this class. I should probably drop it before I fail." The second student with a growth mindset thinks, "I need to study differently next time. Maybe I'll form a study group or ask the professor for help." Same grade, completely different responses. Or picture a promising basketball player who gets cut from the varsity team. With a fixed mindset, they might think, "I guess I'm not as talented as I thought. I should try something else." With a growth mindset, they might think, "This shows me what I need to work on. I'm going to train harder and try again next year." The fascinating thing, and this is where Dweck's research gets really interesting, is that these mindsets are not innate. They're learned, and they can be changed. The science behind the mindsets. Let's geek out for a moment on the science. Dweck's research shows that our brains are much more malleable than we once thought. Each time we learn something new, our neurons form new connections. Our brains literally grow. In one particularly fascinating study, Dweck and her colleagues gave students a series of increasingly difficult problems. They found that those with a fixed mindset showed decreased brain activity as the problems got harder. It was as if they had given up. In contrast, those with a growth mindset showed increased brain activity. They were engaged, working harder, looking for solutions. This is where neuroscience and psychology meet. The growth mindset isn't just a nice idea. It's reflected in actual brain activity. When we embrace challenges and persist through obstacles, our neurons are firing away, making new connections, literally expanding our minds. And here's a mind-blowing fact. Taxi drivers in London who have to memorize the complex layout of the city's streets actually develop larger hippocampi, the part of the brain responsible for spatial memory. Their brains physically change as they learn and practice. If that doesn't convince you that our abilities aren't fixed, I don't know what will. The mindset effect in real life. So how do these mindsets play out in the real world? Let's explore a few key areas. Education. In schools, a fixed mindset can be devastating. Students who believe their intelligence is fixed will avoid challenges, fearing they might expose a lack of intelligence. They'll stick to what they know they can do well, missing opportunities to grow. Teachers with fixed mindsets tend to make quick judgments about which students are smart and which aren't, and these expectations become self-fulfilling prophecies. When they label a child as not a math person, they're essentially giving that child permission to give up. In contrast, teachers with growth mindsets focus on progress and effort. They praise strategies, not intelligence. You work so hard on that problem, instead of, you're so smart. This seemingly small difference can have profound effects. Dweck conducted a study where students were taught about the growth mindset, about how the brain forms new connections when we learn. The results? These students showed significantly improved grades compared to a control group. Simply understanding that their brains could grow changed their approach to learning. And here's a little humor for you. Ever notice how some kids will do mental gymnastics to avoid trying something they might not be good at? I could totally ace that test if I wanted to, I just don't feel like studying. That's not laziness. It's fear. The fixed mindset whispers, if you try and fail, everyone will know you're not as smart as they thought. The growth mindset says, who cares? Let's learn something new. Career and work. In the workplace, mindset dramatically affects performance and leadership. Employees with fixed mindsets often fear feedback, hide mistakes, and feel threatened by colleagues' success. I mean, how many of us have worked with someone who can't admit when they're wrong? That's the fixed mindset in action. CEOs with fixed mindsets may surround themselves with yes people, avoid risks, and blame others when things go wrong. Any former bosses coming to mind? In contrast, growth-minded leaders seek feedback, take calculated risks, and view setbacks as opportunities to improve. Dweck highlights Microsoft's transformation under Satya Nadella, who explicitly embraced a growth mindset for the company. He shifted the culture from know-it-alls to learn-it-alls, and Microsoft's stock price more than tripled in the 5 years after this change. And for all you startup enthusiasts out there, notice how the concept of failing fast and pivoting in entrepreneurship aligns perfectly with the growth mindset. It's about learning from mistakes and adapting, not avoiding failure at all costs. Relationships. Here's where things get really interesting, and perhaps a bit uncomfortable. Our mindsets don't just affect our achievements, they shape our relationships too. Those with fixed mindsets often believe personalities are fixed. That's just how he is. They may give up on relationships when problems arise, thinking, we're just incompatible. They might even keep score, using relationships to prove their worth, rather than to connect and grow. Growth-minded individuals, however, believe people can change and develop. They see relationship challenges as opportunities to learn about their partners and improve the relationship. They're more willing to forgive, communicate, and work through problems. Dweck shares the story of a couple on the brink of divorce. When they learned about mindsets, they realized they'd both been operating from fixed mindsets, taking criticism personally, viewing disagreements as character flaws rather than differences to understand. By shifting to growth mindsets, they began to see their relationship problems as challenges they could work on together, not proof that their relationship was doomed. Now, I'm not saying the growth mindset is a cure-all for relationship troubles. Sometimes that annoying habit of your partner really is just annoying. But approaching relationships with the belief that both people can grow and change creates space for genuine connection and understanding. Parenting. For any parents listening, this is gold. How you praise your children can significantly impact their mindset development. Praising intelligence, "You're so smart," fosters a fixed mindset. Children become focused on looking smart and avoiding mistakes. They may avoid challenges that might make them look less intelligent. Praising effort and strategy, "You work so hard on that," or "I like how you tried different approaches," promotes a growth mindset. Children learn to value effort and resilience, not just success. In one study, children who were praised for being smart chose easier tasks afterward, wanting to maintain their smart image. Those praised for effort chose more challenging tasks, seeing them as opportunities to learn. And here's a parenting hack. Next time your kid says, "I can't do this," try adding the word "yet." You can't do this yet. It's a small change that reinforces the idea that abilities develop over time. Developing a growth mindset. Now for the part you've been waiting for, how to develop a growth mindset. Because yes, even if you've been stuck in a fixed mindset your whole life, you can change. That's the beauty of the growth mindset. It applies to itself too. Step 1. Become aware of your fixed mindset thoughts. We all have both mindsets within us, and certain triggers can activate the fixed mindset. Maybe it's receiving criticism, facing a new challenge, or seeing others succeed. Start noticing when your fixed mindset voice speaks up. This voice might say things like, "What if I fail? I'll be a failure. What if they laugh at me? If I don't try, I won't fail. This is too hard. I should stick to what I'm good at." Once you recognize this voice, you can respond to it. Step 2. Recognize you have a choice. When you hear that fixed mindset voice, remember that you can choose how to respond. You can interpret challenges, setbacks, and criticism using a growth mindset. Step 3. Talk back with a growth mindset voice. When your fixed mindset says, "What if you fail?" you'll be a failure. Your growth mindset can respond, "Most successful people have had failures along the way. I can learn from this." When it says, "If you don't try, you won't fail," your growth mindset answers, "If I don't try, I automatically fail." Taking a risk offers the chance to learn and succeed. Step 4. Take the growth mindset action. Finally, take action from the growth mindset. Accept the challenge, learn from criticism, persist through obstacles, and find inspiration in others' success. And let me just add, this isn't about toxic positivity. It's not about pretending setbacks don't hurt or that effort always leads to success. It's about having a healthy, realistic approach to challenges and learning opportunities. The Mindset Revolution. Since Mindset was first published in 2006, its ideas have spread through education, business, sports, and parenting. Schools have implemented growth mindset programs. Companies like Microsoft and Google have embraced the concept in their cultures. But there's also been some misapplication. Sometimes the growth mindset gets reduced to "just try harder" or "believe in yourself," missing the deeper implications about how we conceptualize ability and learning. Dweck herself has addressed these misconceptions, clarifying that the growth mindset isn't just about effort. It's about learning, improving strategies, and seeking help when needed. It's not about denying innate differences, but about believing everyone can improve significantly. Conclusion. So what's the takeaway from all this? The mindsets we adopt profoundly impact our lives, how we learn, work, relate to others, and perceive our own potential. Adopting a growth mindset doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everyone can do everything equally well. It means believing that everyone can improve significantly with effort, good strategies, and help from others. And here's the thing. You don't have to completely abandon the fixed mindset overnight. Start small. Next time you face a challenge, catch yourself if you start thinking, I'm not good at this. Try replacing it with, I'm not good at this yet, but I can learn. When you receive criticism, resist the urge to defend or deny. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? When you see others succeed, fight the instinct to feel threatened. Instead, ask, what can I learn from their approach? These small shifts can lead to big changes over time. I hope this exploration of Carol Dweck's mindset has given you some valuable insights and practical tools. Remember, developing a growth mindset is itself a growth process, with setbacks, challenges, and continuous learning along the way. Thanks for tuning in today. Until next time, keep growing.